Have you ever made a call that wasn't meant for someone but somehow felt it was the right one? It was a Saturday afternoon in Toronto. The snow outside was falling like soft confetti, and I was wrapped in a blanket with my sketch pad. I'd been attending these online illustration masterclasses recently, something to fill the void of winter isolation. That day, I clicked the wrong meeting link. I panicked as the screen loaded and revealed someone else. He looked just as surprised as I did. Hi, he said. I stared, half embarrassed. Oh no, sorry, I think I clicked the wrong weight. Are you here for the art class? He laughed. Definitely not. I'm a software engineer. But I was about to leave anyway. I should have left right there. But I didn't. I should have left a call. But something about his voice, the curve of his smile, or maybe just the warmth in his tone on that cold Toronto day made me hesitate. So, where are you from? He asked, filling the silence while I debated whether to click live meeting. Toronto. You? New York, he replied. The city that never sleeps and never shuts up, apparently. I laughed. It was the first genuine laugh I'd had all week. I'm a vore, I said. Liam, I don't remember what we talked about after that. Books, maybe. I do remember his bookshelf behind him had a copy of Norwegian Wood by Murakami. We argued about whether it was depressing or poetic. That turned into discussing music, then food, then our mutual addiction to cold brew coffee. Before we realized it, 2 hours had passed. I guess this was the wrong call that felt kind of right, he said. My cheeks flushed. I smiled. Yeah, weirdly, right? That night, I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about his voice, his face, the softness in how he spoke. It wasn't romantic yet. It was curiosity, comfort, connection. The next day, I received a message on the masterclass forum from Liam92. Want to grab a virtual coffee sometime? The next few weeks blurred. We started scheduling calls like they were dates. He'd video call me during my lunch break. I'd draw while he coded. We'd watch the same Netflix shows at night and text each other live commentary. He started sending me little things, playlists, ebooks, memes that made me laugh way too hard. I made him digital sketches, portraits of his dog, a cartoon version of him working on his laptop. One night, after a particularly bad migraine, I found a care package at my door. He'd ordered it from Amazon. Canada.it had peppermint tea, a heated eye mask, and a sticky note. I know I'm far away, but I hope this makes me feel a little closer. Elek, I cried. I didn't even know why. I just felt seen. But love wasn't the plan. We both said that. This is just something nice to have, right? I remember telling him. He nodded. Yeah, a connection. Not romance. We were lying, and we both knew it, because I started noticing the way my heart skipped when his name lit up on my phone, and I'd catch him staring during calls, like he wanted to say something but couldn't. One night, while watching a movie together online, he muted his mic. I could still see his face. He looked nervous. I watched him type something. A message popped up on the screen. If I asked you to come to New York, just for a weekend, would you? I stared at it. My fingers trembled. I didn't respond. Not right away. Some people say distance keeps hearts apart, but sometimes it's the only thing that makes us realize how close we really are. I didn't respond to Liam's message right away, not because I didn't want to, but because I did too much. The idea of seeing him in person made everything terrifyingly real. It was easy when it was video calls, emojis, and late-night voice notes. But showing up in New York, that was the moment when fantasy would meet reality. And what if reality didn't measure up? Later that night, I messaged him. I want to say yes, but I'm scared. Not of you. Just everything it means. He replied almost instantly. Avor, we don't have to rush. But I need you to know I like you more than I've liked anyone in a long time. My breath caught in my throat because I felt it too. I had 4 weeks. The way I woke up excited to hear his voice. The way my evenings didn't feel complete without his messages. How he knew when to cheer me up, when to leave me space, when to stay on call silently while I sketched. But the fear in me whispered louder. I'd been here before. 3 years ago, I had fallen for a guy I met during an art retreat in Chicago. We dated long distance. It lasted 6 months full of promises, but always followed by silence and disappointment. He ghosted me the week I booked tickets to visit him. It took me a year to trust again. Could I risk breaking again? I told Liam the truth. He listened, didn't interrupt, didn't try to defend himself or persuade me. And then he said something I didn't expect. I don't want to be a repeat of your past. I just want to be part of your present. Whatever that looks like, even if it means just being your friend. I'm not going anywhere. That hit different. In the weeks that followed, we continued our routine. But now there was a tenderness between us. A quiet knowing. Like we both felt the weight of unspoken love but respected the space around it. One night, as we were both lying in bed on our respective sides of the border, he whispered through the phone. I know we said we wouldn't catch feelings, but I'm falling for you, Avor. I have been. Every day. I didn't reply right away. My chest ached from the honesty of it, but finally, I said it back. I'm falling too. Harder than I meant to. For the first time in years, love didn't feel like a risk. It felt like coming home, even if that home existed 800 kilometers away. But love, even long distance. Love is never a straight line. And what came next tested us in ways we never expected. The snow was beginning to melt in Toronto, and for the first time in months, the streets weren't wrapped in white. Spring was coming, and with it, a sense of renewal. So when Liam brought it up again, it didn't feel scary anymore, it felt right. Come to New York, he said one night during our usual call. This time, let me give you the skyline, the pizza, the weird subway smells. All of it. I laughed. Wow. Really selling it. Seriously, he continued. Let's meet. No pressure. No plans beyond seeing each other. It was the way he said no pressure that convinced me. I booked a flight, departure, Friday, return, Sunday, 3 days, 48 hours. A lifetime of anticipation. We planned everything. He'd pick me up at JFK holding a coffee in one hand and a ridiculous welcome Avor sign in the other. We'd walk through Central Park, visit his favorite bookstore in Brooklyn, and have late-night noodles in Koreatown. I counted down the days like a child waiting for Christmas. My sketchbook turned into a countdown journal. Page 1. 7 days to Liam. Page 2. 6 days to Liam. And so on. The night before my flight, I couldn't sleep. I packed and repacked, tried on 5 different outfits, rehearsed how I'd hug him tight. Quick, awkward side hug. But all those thoughts dissolved when I got a call at 1:13 a.m. Liam's name lit up my screen. I answered, smiling. Hey, can't sleep either. But his voice was different. Low, shaky. Avor. Something happened. My heart stopped. His MOM had collapsed earlier that evening, rushed to the hospital after suffering a minor stroke. He was panicked, exhausted, and unsure of what would happen next. The visit, our first meeting, was suddenly off the table. "I'm so sorry," he whispered, and though disappointment gnawed at my insides, I said the only thing I knew he needed: forget the visit. Be with her. She needs you more. I sat in silence after the call ended. My suitcase lay open. So did my heart. And yet, I wasn't mad. How could I be? He was right where he needed to be, even if that place wasn't beside me. The next few days blurred. He texted when he could, short updates from hospital corridors and cafeteria chairs. I sent him silly selfies, voice notes reading poetry, and drawings of him as a superhero holding his mom's hand. We were still together, but life had reminded us that love, especially from a distance, wasn't just about the sweet moments. It was about standing firm in the tough ones, and yet, something began to change. Not immediately, but gradually. The calls became shorter, the texts less frequent. It wasn't his fault. He was overwhelmed, tired, distracted. But I felt it. The space between us began to grow again, this time, not in miles, but in silence. And then, one night, a message came in. "Avor, I need some space. Just a little while." No explanation. No timeline. Just a wall. I stared at it for hours, and though I didn't know it then, this was the beginning of the drift. The kind of drift you don't even realize is happening until you're oceans apart. I reread his message a dozen times. I need some space. Just a little while. I tried to rationalize it. His MOM was recovering. He was stressed. Maybe he just didn't want me to worry. But the truth was simpler and heavier. He was pulling away. Days passed. Then a week. We didn't talk. No good morning texts. No shared playlists. No silent sketching sessions over video calls. And just like that, the rhythm we'd built, the beautiful, imperfect rhythm of us, fell apart. I'd pick up my phone 100 times a day, type a message, delete it, repeat. There was this horrible question that haunted every waking moment. Was it over? And if so, why didn't he just say it? One night, I broke. I called him. Voicemail. I texted, "Are you okay? I'm worried. I just want to understand." That's all. Hours later, I received a reply. Just 3 words. "I'm really sorry." That was it. No explanation. No clarity. No closure. I cried that night, harder than I had in years. Not because he was gone, but because I didn't know why he was leaving. The next morning, I deleted our chat thread. I archived his emails, muted his notifications, threw the sketchbook journal into the back of my closet. But memories are trickier to mute. They show up in the quietest moments. In the song that played during our first virtual coffee. In the playlist he made for my migraines. In the little voice inside me that still whispered, "Maybe he'll come back." Weeks passed. Spring bloomed fully in Toronto, but I felt nothing. The city felt colder than it did in winter. My art slowed. My appetite vanished. My friends grew concerned. I told them I was just busy. They didn't press, but I knew they knew. Then, one night, something strange happened. I was browsing through a digital art competition's finalists list, and there it was. Long Distance, a portrait of 2 cities by Liam Holloway. New York. My heart stopped. I clicked on it. It was us. A stunning, surreal painting. A girl with snow in her hair reaching through a screen toward a boy surrounded by neon city lights. I zoomed in and saw it. The detail only we would know. A tiny cup of cold brew drawn between them. Two hearts floating just out of reach. He'd been thinking about me. Maybe even loving me, but loving from afar. Without words, without presence. It wasn't enough, and I couldn't live in his silence any longer. That night, I made a decision. It was time to stop waiting. To choose myself. But just as I started to move on, something happened that neither of us could have predicted. 2 months. That's how long it had been since we last spoke. Since his "I'm really sorry" message. Since I'd felt the lightness of us. I'd tried moving on. I focused on freelance work. I picked up new clients, joined a local art collective, even signed up for pottery classes. But no matter how full I made my days, the nights were always hollow, empty in the way only someone who used to fill them could make them. I told myself, "It's over. Let it go," and I almost believed it, until I got a letter. An actual letter, mailed to my apartment. No return address. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was a folded piece of sketch paper, my sketch paper. And in the center was his handwriting. "I never stopped thinking about you. I just didn't know how to hold love and grief at the same time. When my MOM got worse, I shut down. I pushed away the only good thing I had left us. I didn't deserve your love back then. But I want to fight for it now, if you'll let me. I'm in Toronto. I don't know if you'll want to see me, but I'll be at Trinity Bellwoods Park every day at PM for the next 3 days. If you don't show, I'll understand. But if there's even a fraction of a chance, I'll be waiting." I sat frozen. He was here, in my city. After months of silence, my heart screamed to run to him. My pride whispered, "Don't." I didn't go the first day. I couldn't. Too much pain. Too many wounds still raw. But on the second day, I found myself walking toward the park. Just to see, I told myself. Just to know. It was windy. Clouds gathered like they were undecided about whether to cry. I walked slowly, scanning the benches, and then I saw him, Liam, wearing that same blue hoodie from our first video call, sitting under a tree, a coffee in one hand, and a sketchbook in the other. My heart leapt and broke at the same time. He looked up. Our eyes met. His face changed. Hope, fear, regret. Everything swirled in that one glance. I didn't walk over right away. I stood there, and he stood too. Neither of us said a word, until finally he spoke. "I was so scared you wouldn't come." I swallowed hard. I almost didn't. Silence again. Then I asked, "Why now?" He looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Because even after all this time, I still see you in every beautiful thing. And I got tired of loving you in silence." We talked for hours, on that bench, under that tree, while the sky tried to decide between sun and rain. He told me everything, how overwhelmed he'd been, how unworthy he felt, how scared he was that I'd moved on. I told him how he broke my heart, not because he left, but because he didn't trust me to stay. We didn't kiss that day. We didn't hug. We just healed, bit by bit, word by word. And as I left, he said, "If this is the end, I'll accept it. But if you'll let me, I want to rewrite our story from page 1. I didn't answer right away, but deep down, I knew this wasn't our ending, just an intermission. After that day in the park, something shifted. Not just between Liam and me, but within me. For the first time in months, I stopped replaying the hurt on a loop. I let it settle, let it breathe. And in that space, Something unexpected began to grow again possibility, but I still hadn't given him an answer and he didn't push. He respected the silence. Showed up with quiet messages, hope you're sketching today, or this song reminded me of you. Sometimes I replied. Sometimes I didn't, but every message made its way into my heart. Then one evening, I called him. I have something for you, I said. He laughed gently. What is it? A sketch. But you'll have to come get it. I met him at the CF. We joked about visiting someday. The one with the mismatched chairs and cinnamon hot chocolate. He walked in, nervous but smiling. I handed him a small envelope. Inside was a drawing of us standing on opposite sides of the border, each reaching out, and a note written in the corner. Let's close the distance. He looked up, eyes wide. You mean it? I nodded. But this time, I'm coming to New York. We planned everything, just like we had the first time. But life, with its impeccable sense of irony, had one more twist waiting. The night before my flight, I got a text from him. Small emergency at work. Client meltdown. Might not be at the airport, but I'll meet you at my place. I didn't think much of it. He worked in tech. Fires happened often. The flight was smooth. Landing in New York felt like walking into a dream I'd painted 100 times in my head. I made my way to his apartment. My heart beat louder with every step. But when I knocked, there was no answer. I called straight to voicemail. I waited 15 minutes. Then 30. Nothing. Worried, I walked to the small bakery down the street, the one he said he visited every Sunday. The woman at the counter looked up and smiled. Are you a vore? I blinked. Yes. She handed me a napkin. Liam's handwriting again. You're going to kill me. But I'm in Toronto. My heart dropped. What? I kept reading. I couldn't wait. I booked a flight to surprise you. I wanted to show up at your door the way you always deserved. We've literally swapped cities. I guess we're still synchronizing. I burst out laughing right there in the bakery. Other customers stared, but I didn't care. Only Liam and I could manage to plan a romantic reunion and end up on opposite ends of the border again. We spent the next few hours video calling from our switched cities, laughing like idiots. We're ridiculous, I said. Completely, he replied. But you love it. I do. The next day, we both booked trains to meet halfway at Niagara Falls. We figured if the universe wanted drama, we might as well give it the full cinematic treatment. Niagara Falls, halfway between his world and mine, a place neither of us had planned to meet, but somehow it felt like the most fitting location of all. The roaring water, the mist in the air, the feeling of standing on the edge of something wild and unstoppable. It felt like us. I arrived at the Canadian side of the falls just after noon. The air was damp, heavy with the sound of water crashing endlessly below. Tourists bustled around with cameras and ponchos, but I barely noticed. My heart was pounding too loudly. I stood near the railing, gripping the handle of my suitcase, scanning every figure in the distance. And then there he was, on the other side, the American side, Liam. He spotted me at the same moment I spotted him. We both froze. No phone call, no text, just two people, thousands of moments and missteps behind them, finally meeting without a screen between them. I don't remember moving. Only the blur of people as I walked, then ran toward the pedestrian bridge. He did the same from his side. We met in the middle on the Rainbow Bridge, quite literally between countries, and when we reached each other, we didn't speak. We just held each other tight, like the kind of hug that rewrites everything broken. The mist from the falls clung to our hair, our clothes, our eyelashes. But we didn't care. He buried his face in my neck. I whispered, "You're real." He pulled back just enough to look me in the eyes. "So are you. And I'm never letting go again." And then he kissed me, not like a movie kiss. No slow music, no dramatic spin, just warm, trembling lips that had waited months, years, maybe 4. That moment, and the truth spilled between us in that silence. This wasn't just a reunion. It was a beginning. We spent the day walking the falls, talking about everything and nothing, laughing until our sides hurt, sharing secrets we'd never told anyone. We took the boat tour, soaked to the bone, and ate ice cream while shivering under one oversized hoodie. At sunset, we sat on a bench overlooking the water. I leaned my head on his shoulder. "What now?" I asked. He smiled. "Now, we find a way." And we did. We found a small apartment in Buffalo close enough to both countries, far enough to feel like our own little world. Liam worked remotely, and I got accepted into an art residency nearby. We grocery shopped together, argued about thermostat settings, binge-watched terrible documentaries, and held hands every night like we'd waited lifetimes for it. Distance had brought us together, and ironically, closing it didn't ruin the magic. It just deepened it. Our life in Buffalo wasn't perfect. We fought over laundry, burned dinner, got lost on road trips, and forgot birthdays. But every mistake came with laughter. Every apology came with growth. Every kiss carried the weight of all the moments we almost didn't make it, and that made it ours. We built a life slowly, deliberately. Sunday farmers markets, Tuesday takeout nights, Friday sketch and code sessions on the balcony. I started painting murals for local cafes. Liam joined a small startup doing meaningful work that didn't steal his soul. We weren't rich, we weren't famous, but we were happy, together. One chilly November afternoon, he took me back to Niagara Falls. Same bridge, same spot. He pulled out a tiny sketchbook, the one we used to doodle in over video calls. On the first page, he'd drawn 2 figures, separated by screens. Page 2, the bridge, us, together. Page 3, a ring in his hand. I looked up. He knelt, grinning nervously. "From the moment you joined my Zoom call by accident, I knew you were meant to crash into my world. Will you marry me, Avor?" I didn't cry right away. I laughed, loud, full of disbelief and joy, and the sheer absurdity of the journey we'd taken. Then I said, yes, and I cried. Then he did too. Our wedding was simple. A backyard in upstate New York. Autumn leaves falling like confetti. My dress had hand-painted borders, little sketches of all our milestones. We walked down the aisle to the sound of acoustic guitar and cheering friends, and behind us, a small sign, USA plus Canada equals 1 heart. They say long distance never works, that love across borders fades, that people grow apart when they're miles away, but they don't talk enough about the kind of love that chooses to grow toward each other, that fights through silence, that waits at the border, that writes letters when it's too scared to call. Our story didn't start in a CAF or at a party. It started with a wrong click, a right smile, and a whole lot of courage. So if you're out there, wondering whether love can survive the distance, I promise you it can, because Liam and I, we were miles apart, but our hearts were always aligned. Thanks for watching. Hoped you liked it. If you watched till the end, please comment America, so that we could understand you were with us till the end. As well as, please let us know, where are you watching from? Before leaving, Please hit the subscribe button, comment your thought, and share with your nearest and dearest one. See you in the next one. Until to the next one, spread love.